This week on Here for the Right Reasons, it's the girls versus Sarah, and the girls won.
The rest of your living situation here is going to be horrible.
Matt makes a connection with Serena P, and the girls get X-rated.
And they together, and he screamed, "Yes, queen."
Plus, Bachelor Nation's Mike Johnson talks Queen Victoria trying to become Bachelor Nation's latest villain.
I'm going to say something that I probably shouldn't say, but I don't really give a crap.
Yes.
I think she's trying to take Demi's crown. Like, she's not going to be able to.
We've got that plus so much more on today's Here for the Right Reasons. Hey guys, Christina Garibaldi here with Us Weekly senior writer Sarah Heron. Welcome to Here for the Right Reasons. Hi, Sarah.
Hi, Christina. We have a lot to talk about.
God, we have so much to talk about. The girls went in.
As Sarah's Insecurities came out, the girls' catty side came out, and it was not pretty.
It was not pretty at all. Let's break it all down in our bracket of roses and watch the girls confront Sarah after she crashed the group date. Take a look.
Why do you think that we want to make amends with you? She was just trying to placate the situation. If Matt sends her home, I will want to him because I'll just be like, that is so hot that he can see through her.
I couldn't even watch this at points. I felt so bad for her. So let's break it all that down. Do we think the girls overreacted?
You know, it's funny because I do totally get the feeling of them fighting for time and finally having, you know, a little bit smaller of a group date, having this intimate setting, and being annoyed that she showed up, especially because it was the beginning of the week. Like they said, everyone's going to have a date. Like, you need to calm down. You had a one-on-one already. Like, she walked into the ring of fire. But yes, they really acted like she committed a crime in front of them. And I wonder how long it really was. Like, maybe it was longer than we thought, or maybe we missed something because they went in very quickly and they pretended to care about her. When Victoria was like, "Oh, we thought it was your health." Yeah. I was like, okay, this is a lot.
She is mean. And we have to take into account, probably Sarah wasn't the one who was like, I'm going to go down and crash this group date. Producers were like, you know, if you have something to say, you shouldn't wait until tomorrow. Go down there right now. So I'm sure she was pushed to create some sort of drama, but she probably didn't think that it was going to escalate into this. And, you know, we've seen girls in the past, you know, they can't handle this group date situation where, you know, so many people are vying for this guy's heart. And yes, she had that great one-on-one date with him, and then she sees all these girls making connections as well. It can definitely mess with your head. But, you know, we were just saying, you know, before we started that she probably should have confronted the girls earlier. Yes, she did it right after she crashed the date and probably was like, oh my God, that's the reaction I'm going to get. I'm going to go hide in my room. But that didn't do her any favors.
No, the worst thing she could have done was hide in her room, because she gave these women who have nothing else to talk about, nothing else to think about, free range to talk about her, to make it even a bigger deal than it was. And, you know, when he went up there, even though Matt James was, you know, just trying to be the good guy, and he even said, he was like, if it was you up there, I would have gone too. I don't know what to do. He doesn't know what the hell is going on. But when he went up there ahead of Serena P's one-on-one date to comfort Sarah, it gave her an even bigger target. These women don't want Sarah to have any time with Matt, to look sympathetic to Matt. And I mean, it just made it so much worse that she stayed hidden. And then when they had her come down just in time to hear another group date card, I was like, oh, these producers really don't want her to make up with these women.
I know they do not. And, you know, she said it was, you know, a mix of her having these insecurities with Matt, but I do feel like in some way she was bullied out of the house. I mean, when Kit was like, you may have a connection with him, but I'm going to make your living situation like a living hell. Like, yes, I would want to leave. Like, I'm packing my bags right now. I can't do this.
I don't even mean to laugh because it's not funny, but it's just like the fact that she said that and it came out of her mouth. Like, imagine saying that to someone and meaning it and being like, I'm going to make your, like, what were they going to do? Freeze her bra? Like, what is this? How old are we? And of course, you know, Kit is only 21 years old. Victoria thinks she's a queen. So like their stereotypes and the things that they probably don't want to be known for were like, they were showing their true colors. It felt like to me.
Right.
And I don't know. Sarah, I think we can all agree Sarah was not meant for this show, whether it's, you know, what's going on with her dad, which is really sad, and she probably maybe shouldn't have left to begin with, or if she's just the kind of girl who's not, this process isn't going to work for. But that doesn't mean she shouldn't be treated like a human. They should have just been like, girl, if you can't do it, you should leave. You can say that in a way that's not, I'm going to make your life a living hell.
Yeah, no, I mean, her trying to apologize to 30 women, 25 women was one of the most uncomfortable moments, I think, in Bachelor history. I mean, when she was like, I've made connections with you, with a lot of you women, and Victoria's like, who's she talking to? Like, I'm like, oh my God, like, this is out of control. Like, she's trying to apologize to you guys multiple times. Like, accept it and move on. Like, it just didn't really I wonder what like was going through Matt's head last night when he was watching this back and was like, oh my God, all of these girls are terrible.
I wonder what everyone who was involved in that situation was thinking watching it back, because the only person who really came out looking great was Katie.
Yes.
Vibrator girl, Katie, the unsung hero of the episode. I was so impressed with the way, because she was the one who was interrupted. She was pissed off and she had a right to, to hover, to be like, all right, it's time for you to go. I totally get that. Like, I understand you can't break the rules, but she also was the only one who was a big enough person to be like, you guys, you're being insane. And also and I loved when she was like, if you have feelings for Matt, I want you to stay because I don't want him to pick me because you left. And that's such a good point.
It really is. It's such a good point. And yes, like, who would have thought that she would have been the one to, have that conversation with her and, figure out what really, there's so many layers to why people might act the way they do. And, like they say, you never know what's going on behind closed doors. Obviously, a lot of things were going on with her, and this was just way too much for her. And like you said earlier, she was not meant for this show, and it was probably for the best that she went home, because it was not going to be pretty. But it seems like almost like the girls were taking Victoria's side a little bit this week, which was kind of like a weird 180.
No, Victoria had a very interesting episode, I think, for the viewers and for the women. And it reminded me of Matt James saying after the premiere that I know that she had friends in the house. There's more to her than you think. So there was clearly, we're going to see more to this. And even as a viewer, there were moments when I was like, oh, that was kind of funny. Or like, it felt a little bit more well-rounded villain versus just like, get this girl off of my TV screen.
Yes.
Ultimately, I think she went too far, and it kind of took any progress she made when she was too mean. But yeah, I mean, did you like her during the episode? Did you have any sort of feelings?
There were some funny moments. We're going to talk about the X-rated date a little bit later, but there definitely were some funny moments of her, like when she was reading her X-rated story, that I kind of liked. But like you said, anything that she kind of like redeemed herself with, it kind of just went out the window when she had that conversation with Sarah at the end, I thought. So many of the girls kind of came out as a villain at that point, but she was just kind of went in. But yes, I think there were some redeeming moments for her, and I do feel like she is making some friends in the house. She might have had like a weird edit at first. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it was definitely some of the women were, even when Marilyn got sent home in the way beginning of the episode, which like, justice for her, by the way, nobody cared, because it has all whatever. But even when she got sent home, like none of the other women were, upset about it, or they didn't show it. They were like, it checks out. So clearly Victoria does have allies in this house, and maybe they weren't showing it to make us really not like her.
Right.
And it's confusing, but the villain is always confusing, right? I guess that's quote unquote what happens. But I recently spoke to Bachelor Nation's Mike Johnson, who was on the same season as Luke P, one of Bachelor Nation's biggest, and he talked to me about how Queen Victoria, is kind of taking this crown of biggest villain.
But the thing about her, I totally agree. I feel like she came into this show with wanting this kind of to be her role, and she's leaning into it a little much, whereas sometimes the quote unquote villains, they blame the edit or whatever, and you kind of can see that, like, maybe this was produced. I feel like this is all her.
No, this is her. Like, this is 100% her. This is what she wants. Some people go on a show to find love. I'm not saying that she doesn't want love. I'm certain she actually does want love. But in addition, if not more so, she wants to ascertain some attention.
And she's getting it.
Yeah, she's getting it. We're talking about her.
We are talking about her. And Matt James said on Jimmy Kimmel or something that there are women who liked Victoria from what he understands. So I wonder if we are seeing like she does have allies, or because it feels like right now they're all just like tiptoeing around her because they don't want to be her next like victim.
I don't blame them. Like,
Me either.
I don't blame them. They don't want that smoke. They don't want no smoke.
No, I mean, and during Hannah's season, I feel like obviously like Luke P was like the quote unquote villain, bad guy. Did you guys have a decent relationship with him in the house or no? I don't even remember, or what we didn't see.
Luke P didn't want no smoke with me, but I would say that there were like, Luke is not a bad human being. He's really not. People in my DMs have heard me say that before, and they're like, yes, he is. I'm like, no, he's not. But his ideologies are a little off. That's all.
And I feel like with Victoria, I mean, I don't know.
I'll say they were off at the time. It's been a while since I've seen him, so I don't know. He could change.
That's true. That's nice of you. We don't know if Victoria's a good person, obviously, because we've only seen her on this TV show for a hot minute and it's impossible to know. But I feel like maybe she just went into it knowing she wanted to stir the pot. And now she's like so far deep that she can't go back. And she's like imagining scenarios in her head, like this feud with this girl, Maryland. Where did that come from? Maryland. I don't even know. I didn't know her name until all of a sudden she was like the mean girl that Victoria was trying to say.
Yeah. It's COVID. And it's already hard. It's already hard that you're in a bubble, but then add COVID on top. You got to get imagination somewhere. You got to entertain yourself some kind of way. That's my only explanation. I don't know what baby girl doing. I'm watching like everybody else is, eating my kettle corn.
I mean, he's got a point. I mean, I don't know if she could rival Luke P, but we'll have to wait and see.
I can't wait to see how long her stint is going to last, and if Sarah's kind of warning to Matt how that's going to play out, because I feel like he might just get distracted by these new girls coming in,
right?
And he's going to learn a lot watching the show.
I mean, yeah, but you tend to forget. I mean, we saw this preview of these 5 new women coming in, and it seems like they are definitely going to be making a splash and causing a lot of drama in the house. So we're going to see. I guess that's like a new thing that they're doing. They did it with Tayshia's season, and now they're going to do it with this season as well. So
kind of genius, just to make those good, just as they feel comfortable. Had Sarah, who was clearly had a connection, she's gone. All right, here are 5 new other girls to make you all go crazy. It's kind of genius TV.
It is kind of genius, and I'm surprised it took this long. We did see Matt make a connection with Serena P this past episode. What did you think of their one-on-one? And she dropped the L word, like, and love. She said she could potentially see herself falling in love with him, but I don't know. I mean, I like her, but she's only 22. She's so young.
I know. I felt the same way. I feel like she's so cute. She's petite. She's like very confident, charismatic. She seems to be a really nice girl, which was refreshing for a minute. But yeah, their conversation, like, I feel like it's hard because we're always with The Bachelor harping on their age, because so many of the girls are young, and especially when they have The Bachelor, 28, 29, they always have like 22, 23, 24-year-olds. And with Claire's season, we finally kind of saw a difference. And so I wouldn't make that a big deal, except for the date felt young too. Like they were talking about turtles and donkeys, and I was just like, we don't always have to go so deep, sometimes this show goes a little dark very quickly, but this felt like a nothing. Like I was like, this chick, she's probably going to go far because she's easy to have around, but there's no real spark or connection there. Like they're just friends. There
was no depth to the conversation. They weren't being vulnerable, as The Bachelor always says. But I think it, like you said, it does make such a difference when the contestants are a little bit older. I think that's why we liked Tayshia's guys so much, because they knew exactly what they wanted. They were in that not saying that you can't be 22 and ready for marriage. You definitely can, but it just seems like they're more settled and know exactly what they want when they're a little bit older.
Yeah, it was funny also to hear like 22-year-old Serena P say she thought like she was with the person she was going to marry and she's been in love, and 29-year-old Matt James be like, oh, I don't know what love is. I was like, okay, there's something weird happening.
Something off here. But who knows? Like you said, I think she probably will make it far because, she's easy to have around, like you said. So we'll have to wait and see. But let's move on to our cringe of the week.
Oh my God, brought to you by Chris Harrison's The Perfect Letter.
Talk about a shameless plug, Chris Harrison.
I know, but it kind of worked for once. Like usually it's so obvious and so like offensive, but it was kind of like wild. And I guarantee you sales are up for that book, because I don't think people really read it much when it came out, but now they know it's
it was like an erotic novel.
Yeah. But this date made me very uncomfortable. It was erotic, dates, love scenes, whatever you want to call it. Just watch it for yourself.
Before he set her down, he teasing her. She slowly pulled down his pants. She traced her hands on his inner thigh, all the way to his
Yes, this might be one of the most uncomfortable group dates. I don't know.
And it's also weird because the bleeps and stuff, like, they were necessary, but then it just makes things more uncomfortable. But my favorite part was just Chris Harrison and Ashley I's faces. And even the other women, it was kind of nice to see them laugh with each other. Like we were mentioning, Victoria really, like, she shined. And I know it's hard. Maybe she's thought her her story was funny, but I really felt like they were laughing with her, not at her, for the first time.
Yes, I did enjoy the yes queen. I thought that was pretty funny when she, but I think it was uncomfortable but funny at the same time. It was definitely a good bonding experience for everyone. I don't really understand why Ashley I was there, but whatever.
Yeah, that was a big narrative online. I actually saw like our Ashley Jared timeline on the site was doing well randomly during the episode. So people were probably like, oh yeah, what is she up to again? Who's Jared? Like watching the show casually. But we did just see her on the Claire Tayshia season. I think she's just one of those people who loves the show, which we all do. And she is available to quarantine. I don't have anything going on. Like if they wanted me to go to Nemacolin, I'd be there too.
Totally. Hey, if The Bachelor called me on speed dial every single season, I would be there. So
yeah, 100%.
Totally, I get it. All right, moving on to our Where Are They Now segment. With Sarah leaving, it got us thinking about some past contestants who bailed on The Bachelor before the final rose ceremony when things just got a little too crazy for them.
Yeah, I love that we dug up some of these old contestants because, Sarah, she's not the first to realize that this show is not going to work for her. And it does take someone, strong enough in their own convictions to leave versus, even though she crumbled and spiraled a bit, you don't necessarily want to walk away from this opportunity and the guy. Like there are a lot of things that probably are going through your head. And we saw Elise on Colton's season have kind of a similar journey, saying she couldn't accept a proposal from Colton, like kind of mid-season, a little towards the earlier side though, to be talking about proposals, because he's been spending so many time with the other women. And Colton was just kind of like, okay, bye. But like, I think she maybe thought Colton was going to be like, you should stay.
You should stay. Wait, don't leave.
Yes. And now she, based on her Instagram, she's a makeup artist. She's doing virtual online classes. She seems to be single, but she's young too. So probably for the best that she bowed out early.
Totally. And then during week 2 of Ben Higginson's season, if we remember all the way back a few years ago, Lauren Barr walked out because she couldn't handle the environment in the mansion, which is understandable. That, like we said, some people are just not cut out for this. And I don't know if I would be either, but she, based on her Instagram is private, but at the time of Ben's season, she was a fashion buyer in Oklahoma. So who knows, maybe she's still doing that. But,
I have a little bit of LBT.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so she briefly dated Chris Lane, who then married Lauren Bushnell, both from their season. There was like some weird little stuff there. It was kind of like brushed under the rug, but she was linked to him first. And now I believe she's engaged or married. I think I saw her Instagram before it went private, like right before the Greatest Seasons Ever aired. And I believe she's married or engaged, just like Lauren and Chris were expecting a baby. So also that ends well, but always little incestuous Bachelor stuff.
Chris Lane, loving those Lauren B's.
Yeah, right. So weird.
So weird. But yes, I'm sure there will be more to add to this list as the seasons go along, because girls are ruthless at times.
Ruthless. This group said they weren't here to make friends, and they were not lying.
Not lying at all. Well, Sarah, who do you have on your podcast this week?
We have Desiree, Bachelorette 9, I believe, a little old school, but it'll be good to get her perspective on how the show has changed and how catty it is. I'm very fascinated to see from both a contestant and lead perspective how you're supposed to manage the drama while also like trying to make these connections work. And she's still with Chris, so she's done it all.
Something worked for her, so definitely excited to hear from her perspective. So make sure you listen to Sarah's podcast, Here for the Right Reasons, and make sure you check back with Us Weekly's YouTube channel every Tuesday, because we're going to be recapping The Bachelor every single week.
Can't wait.
All right, well, Sarah, have a good week. Thanks for running down all things Bachelor.
Bye.
Bye.